May we continue with what we were talking about last time that we met here. We were talking about conflict, whether it's possible to live in this world without problems and conflict. We should go on talking about that, because for most of us, life, the daily living, is a series of struggles, conflicts, pain, and varieties of anxieties. And we're asking whether it is possible in living in this crazy world to live a life in which every kind of problem and conflict doesn't exist. It may sound rather absurd or even crazy to think about such things, to live without a single conflict. As we were saying the other day, all this requires the inquiry into this question, considerable intelligence, considerable energy, application. Merely to discuss or have a dialogue between you and the speaker, verbally, theoretically, has very little meaning. So, if we could together this evening, in spite of the crows, could think together, go into this problem, whether there is an art of living in which one can live in daily life, not in a theoretical world, in daily life, to live without psychologically, inwardly, without all the turmoil, the pain of change, and the anxiety involved in that change, whether it's possible to live such a life. To ask such a question may seem quite incredible, because our life, from the moment we're born till we die, is a series of conflicts, struggles, ambition trying to fulfill itself, and all the pain of existence, with sorrow, pleasure, and so on. So if we could go into this question, the art of living, daily life. We have many arts. The art of painting, the art of making a marvelous shoe, first class shoe, and the art of painting, the art of engineering, the art of communication. There are many, many arts, but for most of us, and probably for the rest of the world too, we have never asked this question. The art of living. To find that out is a terrible. Bombay is rather a dirty country, and it makes one's eyes water. I'm not crying. It requires investigation, how to live, because the art of living is the greatest art and the most important art, greater than any other art, greater than the art of government, the art of communication. In spite of all that, we have never inquired very deeply what is the art of living. Our daily life, which requires such subtlety, sensitivity, and a great deal of freedom. Because without freedom, you cannot find out what is the art of living. The art of living isn't a method, a system, or ask another how to find the art of living, but requires considerable intellectual activity and also a deep, abiding honesty. Very few of us are honest. It's getting worse and worse in the world. We are not honest people. We say one thing, do another. We're going to talk about philosophy, God, all the theories that the ancient Indians have invented, and we are rather good at all that kind of stuff. But the world, the description, the explanation is not the deed, the action. And that's why there is a great deal of dishonesty. And to inquire into the art of living, there must be a fundamental, unshakable, immutable honesty. Honesty which is not corruptible, which doesn't adjust itself to environment, to demands, to various forms of challenges. It requires a great integrity to find out. Because we're dealing with a very, very complex problem. It isn't just easy to live a life which is perfectly ordinary, without dissipating energy, without living in any kind of illusion or tradition. Tradition, however old, however modern, is merely carrying on the old pattern. And the old pattern cannot possibly adjust itself to the new. So together, and we mean together. It's not that the speaker is saying something to which you agree or disagree, but together, exercising your intellect, your reason, your sanity if you have sanity, and together looking at this very complex problem. As we said the other day, this is not a lecture. This is not a lecture to give you information, facts, instruct you, to persuade you, to slightly, delicately direct you in a particular direction, not doing any kind of propaganda to inseminate a new set of ideas. It's not anything of that kind. Then that would be dishonorable on the part of the speaker when he says it's not that and he means that. So you are exercising your own brain, your own sense of urgency, demand to find out if there is a way of living which is totally orderly, so please, if you will, be serious for this evening. You may not be serious for the rest of the year or the rest of the week, but at least once in one's life to be totally earnest, to be completely honest with oneself. Then we can together go into this question, what is the art of living? How are we going to find out the art to put everything in its right place? Not exaggerating one or the other, not giving one's instinct, one's urges in one direction and neglecting totally the others. Not trying to fulfill in a particular direction, but together, you and the speaker are going to find out for ourselves, not that you will be told by the speaker. This is important to understand. I'm sorry, the crow's having fun. They're saying good night to each other. They'll quieten down when it gets a little darker. So please, for this evening at least, see how important it is to find out a way of living in which conflict, problems don't exist. Because conflict and problems waste our energy. One has to find out why problems exist. There are mathematical problems, geographical problems, and so on, academic problems. We are not talking about those problems. We are talking about the problems of human beings. They are first human beings. Afterwards they are scientists, engineers, businessmen, all the rest of it. First we are human beings. But when you give importance to other things, you forget that you are a human being. So please, together, let's find out. The art of living, doesn't it mean to lead a life, a daily life, with tremendous precision, accuracy of order? Order does not mean, does it, conformity. Following a pattern set and adjusting yourself to that pattern. We'll go into this slowly. Does it not mean that to become fully conscious, aware of one's own disorder? Are we aware of that? Or do we think that's merely environmental difficulties? But inwardly, we are perfectly ordered. We are pointing out together that inwardly we live in disorder, in contradiction. That's a fact. Even the greatest saint, who are generally slightly neurotic, even the greatest saints live in disorder because they are trying to become something all the time. The very becoming, you understand that? I hope you are following each other. Becoming. I am this, I will become that. In that endeavor to change what is to what should be, there is an interval in which the gap, in which conflict takes place. And that conflict is the essence of disorder. Scusa, you've understood what I'm saying? Where there is division between classes, people, races, religions, and in ourselves, a contradiction, a division. I am this, I must become that. In that, there is a division. That very division is the root of disorder. Because in that, there is a contradiction. Right? I am this, I want to be ordered. When I say I want to be orderly, I recognize I'm in confusion. So I attempt to bring about order. So I make a diagram, a sketch of what is order, and then I try to follow that. We are saying, if you'll kindly listen together, that very fact is the cause of disorder. Right? Have you understood? Are we together in this little, slightly? Not too much, but just enough. So, where there is division in us psychologically, there must be conflict, and therefore disorder. Now, as long as there is disorder, trying to find order is still disorder. Right? You understand what I am confused. My life is in disorder. I'm fragmented, broken up inside. And being confused, out of that confusion, I create a pattern, an ideal, a scheme. And I say I'm going to live according to that scheme. But the origin of that scheme is born out of my confusion. Right? Clear? So, what I have to understand is, why am I confused? Why am I disordered? If I can understand that, then out of that comprehension, perception, order naturally comes without a single effort. That is, if I can find the causation of my confusion, then confusion doesn't exist. Then there is order. I wonder if you see this. Are we together in this little bit? Are we? Good. When you say yes, sir, do you really mean it? Or is it just verbal assertion, let's get on with it? That is dishonesty. If we don't see things clearly, don't say yes. Say, I don't see it. Then we can together have a dialogue about it. But if you say yes, or what your concern is, then let's go on. So please look at it carefully. And God whole hour. And this awareness of confusion, we should not be confused, but the very awareness of confusion brings about the cause of it, the causation. So what is the cause? What is the cause? You understand? If I am ill, go to a doctor, and the doctor, if he's fairly good, says, you you are eating or doing certain things that upset your whole organism. So he says, don't do this, don't do that. So I change. I eat chocolate. In the same way, if we can find the cause, then the effect is changed. And if there is a change in the effect, there is change in the cause. You understand? Are we together or are you asleep? Let's proceed. So, order is only possible when we understand the nature of disorder. And the nature of disorder can be totally wiped out. If I'm quarreling with my wife, or the wife is quarreling with me, I find out why we are quarreling. If we like to quarrel, that's a different matter. But if we want to stop quarreling, we say, let's talk about it. Let's see why we quarrel. And then we find we are quarreling about opinions. I want this and you want something different. And thereby we begin to communicate with each other and ultimately come to some point where we both of us agree. So similarly, together, to live a life, the art of living so that it is completely ordered. That is the art of living. Then, the art of living implies that there should be no fear. Right? Should we go into it? Are you interested in it? We're saying that that the art of living demands that there should be no fear at all. Fear of psychological security, fear of death, fear of not becoming something, fear of losing, gaining, the whole problem of fear. Shall we talk about it together? Whether it is possible to totally be free completely of fear. Because a brain that's frightened is a dull mind. A mind that's not capable of observing, living. Aren't you all frightened? Huh? Be a little honest with it. We're all frightened. Inward. Out. We'll first examine the inner, then we'll look at it the outer. Not the other way around. Yes? We all want physical security. That's what everybody demands. Money, position, safety, security, physically. But we never inquire into the security, certainty, Because the inward activity shapes the outer, controls the outer. Right? You understand? So, we're asking, the art of living consists not only having complete order, but also to be totally, psychologically, inwardly free of fear. Is that possible? Because we have lived with fear from childhood. Fear of the husband, fear of the wife, fear of not achieving, fear of not fulfilling, fear of not being satisfied. You know the nature of fear, or I'm sure all of you. So, we are asking, what is the nature and the structure of fear? Ask yourself the question first. What is fear? How does it arise? What is the cause of it? The root cause of it. I may be afraid of darkness. I may be afraid of public opinion. I may be afraid of somebody who's going to beat me up. There are various forms of fear. So shall we deal with the various forms one by one, your particular fear, her particular fear, or my particular fear, or shall we go together and find out the root of it, the cause of it, right? Which we want. The various branches of fear, or the very hidden root, hidden nature of fear. You understand? What is the root of fear? Look at I'm asking, the speaker is asking you this question, and be, if you will, kindly honest this evening. You can be dishonest afterwards. That's your nature, that's what you want. But for this evening, find out for yourself what is the root of it. What brings all this fear about? Because fear is most destructive. If one lives in an enclosed, a sense of physical, nervous tension, feeling small, frightened, you know the feeling of fear. And where there is fear, every kind of neurotic action takes place, irrational, pretending to be rational. So it is important to find out for yourself what is the root of it. Or are there many roots of it? Or only one single root? Probably you have not thought about this. You are too busy earning money. You are too busy worrying about your states and so. You haven't probably ever given thought or inquiry into find out if you can live without fear. Change from what is to what should be is one of the causes of fear. I may not ever arrive there, so I'm frightened of that too. I'm also frightened of what is going on. I'm also frightened of the past. Right? So we are trying together, not accepting what the speaker is saying, but try to find out. That requires honesty, skepticism, not accepting a thing that the speaker is saying, but to see for ourselves the essence and the structure of fear. Right? What is fear? Not what we are afraid about. I am afraid about death, suppose, because I am getting old and I am greatly frightened. We are not asking what you are afraid of, but what is fear per se in itself. You understand? Are you getting tired? All right. So what is fear itself? How does it come about? And we will go together into the investigation of it. But you must together share it, not verbally accept it. Then if you verbally accept it, theoretically or intellectually, at the end of it you are still frightened. And that's a waste of time, of your time and the speaker's time. But if you and the speaker can walk together, journey together to the whole nature of fear, and you yourself capture the truth of the cause of fear, then you are free. Unless you want to be frightened for the rest of your life, you may like it. Because people do love some kind of fear, because that makes them feel at least they have something to hold on to. What is the past? Please listen, we are talking about fear. What is the past? What is the present? And what is the future? The past is all that you have accumulated as memory, the remembrance of things gone, and the present is the past modifying itself to the future, right? This is the actual fact. So you are the past memories, past remembrances, past accidents, the whole accumulation of the past. You are there. You are the bundle of memories. It's a fact. If you had no memories, you don't exist. So you are that. The past, please listen, is time. isn't it? The past has been gathered through time. I have had an experience week ago. That experience has left a memory, and that memory is born from the past experience, which is, when I use the word past, it's already time, right? Really? So it's time. The past is time. And also the past is memory, knowledge, experience. Right? Right, sir? The past is experience, knowledge, stored in the brain as memory, and from memory, thought arises. This is a fact. So, time, which is the past, and also memory, which is the past. So time and thought are the same. They are not separate. Right? Are you understanding this? Are we together? Little bit. So, we are asking, fear is both time and thought. I did something a week ago which caused fear. I remember that fear, and I want to prevent that happening again. So there is the past incident which caused fear, which is, and it is recorded in the brain as memory. That recording is time. Right? There is this speech, this talk is being recorded. This recording is time between the word and the thing. That is time. I hope you understand all this. And thought is also time. Because thought comes into being through memory, through knowledge, through experience. So thought and time are similar, together, they are not separate. Right? And we are saying, asking, is that the root of fear? Time and thought. Time thought. That is, I am afraid of death. Right? Death is, I'm still young, old, whatever it is, I'm healthy, but death is waiting for me. And I'm afraid of death. That is, I have put it away from me. But I'm still afraid of that. Aren't you all afraid of death? Yes? No? You must be strange people if you're not afraid of death. So, fear, the root of fear is thought, time. Don't say, how am I to stop time and thought? If you say how, then you demand a system, a method. Then you will practice that method, which means time. Right? So you're back again the same old pattern. Have you understood? But if you understand, grasp, have an insight into the nature of fear and the causation of fear, which is thought and time, if you really grasp that, then hold it. Don't run away from it. Look, I don't know why I should explain all these things. They're all so simple. But you're all very complicated people. Too intellectual, too learned, too experienced. You can never meet anything simple. But I will go into it. Fear arises from something that has happened before. You had a toothache, go to the dentist, he heals it, but it has been recorded. The pain has been recorded. Where there is a recording, there must be the memory and saying, I hope it will not happen again tomorrow. So, the pain of yesterday is recorded, then the memory, which is the recording, says, I hope I won't have it. The whole process of that is fear, right? If you understand the principle of it, the fundamental nature of fear, then you can deal with it. But if you are escaping from fear, trying to rationalize it, trying to say, how am I, tell me to escape from it, then it is that you're at the end of it, as you are, for the rest of your life, you're frightened. Right? So, the root of fear is time hope. If you understand that, see the beauty of it, the subtlety of it. And the other thing is, people are afraid, as you are, most people, human beings throughout the world, are afraid of death. Right? That's one of the fundamental fears of life. And we all know death is for everybody. For you and the speaker. That's an absolute certainty. Right? You can't escape from that. You might live longer by not wasting your energy, by leading a simple, sane, rational life, but however way you live, death is inevitable, right? Would you accept that? Not accept, it's a fact. Would you face that fact? You are going to die, says the speaker. You, who are you? Who are you, sirs and ladies? Who are you? Your money, your position, your capacity, your dishonesty, your confusion, your anxiety, your loneliness, your bank account, you're all that, aren't you? Be simple and honest. It is so. And we're asking, what is the art of living when we are going to die? It is there, whether you like it or not. What's the art of living so that one is not afraid of death? You understand? Let's go into it, not verbally, not intellectually, not theoretically, but actually. So that you know what death means. We're not advocating suicide. There are certain philosophers, the existentialists and others, who say life is a perpetual going up the hill and coming down the hill. Pushing up the hill and after you reach certain height, coming down. And life, such a life, has no meaning. Therefore, commit suicide. You understand? We're not saying that's the way to live. That's not the art of living. But we are asking ourselves, why are we afraid of death? When we are young, old, and so on, why is there this torment of which we are so maybe conscious or unconscious? And the fear of death is also suffering, right? Suffering in leaving my family, suffering and all the things have accumulated and I'm leaving all that. So, the art of living is not only to find out how to live our daily life, but also to find out what the significance of death is while living, right? What is death? There is the biological, organic, ending through disease, through old age, through accident, through some misfortune. I go down the street, a brick may fall on me, a child, and I'm killed. So, what do we mean by dying? If we can understand that, then life and death can live together. You understand? Not death at the end of one's soul when the organism ends, but to live together. To live with death and life. Have you ever asked this question? Probably not. Now you ask that question. Put it to yourself, this question, whether it is possible to live, which is the art of living and living with death. Now, to find that out. You must find out what is living. Right? Which is more important, dying or living? Before or after? You understand my question? Most people are concerned after, when there is incarnation, blah, all that kind of stuff. But they never ask, which is more important, the living, which is an art? If I know, if there is a right living, perhaps death is also part of right living. You understand? Not at the end of one's stupid life. So one must inquire first, what is living? You answer, child. I will discuss it, have a dialogue about it, but you have to answer that question for yourself. Which means, what is your life? What's your daily life? Which is what your life is. A long series of daily lives. What are those long series of life? Pain, anxiety, insecurity, uncertainty, right? Some kind of illusory devotion to some entity which you have invented, some kind of fanciful, illusory existence, a make-believe life, having faith, having belief, all that is what you are, right? You are attached to your house, to your money, to your bank, to your wife, children, right? You are attached, all, right? This is your life. Would you contradict that? Would you contradict that? The description which the speaker has pointed out, that you live a constant strife, constant effort, conflict, pain, loneliness, sorrow. That's your life. And you are afraid to let that go. And that says, my friend, you can't take it with you. You can't take your money, your family, your knowledge, your beliefs. Right? That says you have to leave all that behind. Right? Would you agree to that? Or do you deny that? Face it, sir. So, the art of living is, did I answer it? See, you are waiting for me to answer it. Look, sir, I'm attached to my wife, or to a certain conclusion. I'm tremendously attached to it. Now, that says to me, you can't. When I come, you have to let go. Now, is it possible for me, living, to let go? Yes, sir. Will you let go? Absolute silence. Right? I am attached to my furniture. I've polished it, I've looked after it. It's an old piece of furniture. I won't give it away, it's mine. I've lived with it for years, 80 years. It's part of me. When I'm attached to that piece of furniture, that furniture is me. I know you laugh, but you won't let that furniture go. So death says to you, my friend, you can't take that desk with you. So can you be totally free of that attachment to that piece of furniture? You live with that furniture, but totally free of attachment to that. That is death. You understand? So that you are living and dying all the time. You don't see the beauty of it. You don't see the freedom that it gives you, the energy, the capacity. Was it? Where you are attached, there is fear. There is anxiety, uncertainty. Uncertainty, fear causes sorrow. And to go into the question of sorrow, as part of life. Everybody, one on earth, has suffered, has shed tears. Haven't you shed tears? Your husband doesn't care for you. He uses you and you use him. And you suddenly realize how ugly that is. And you suffer. Man has killed man throughout history. In the name of religion, in the name of God, in the name of nationality, in the name, right? So man has suffered immensely. And we have never been able to solve that problem. Never suffer. Because where there is suffering, there is no love. In suffering, there is not only self-pity, there is also fear of loneliness, of separation, of division, remorse, guilt, all that is contained in that word. And we have never solved this problem. We put up with it, we shed tears and carry the memory of the son or the brother or the wife or the husband for the rest of your life. Is there an end to sorrow? Or must man forever and ever carry this burden To find that out is also the art of living. And the art of living is to have no fear. And also the art of living is to have no sorrow. So to inquire into that complex problem, why man not only has been inhuman, but also cruel to other people, brutal, violent, killing by the millions, thousands. And how many people have shed tears over their sons, over their husbands, over their relations and so on. And we're still carrying on the same old rotten, filthy, brutal game, killing each other. You are going to have, I believe I saw as who came down, a naval show here, right? Yes, sir. And you are very proud of your army and your navy and all that rot. And every country is proud of its own military instruments to kill thousands of people. And you agree, we should not, and you carry on the next day. Never inquiring whether you can stop in yourself violence. Why wars exist? Do you realize, sirs, there have been wars over 6,000 years, man killing man. The filthiness, the ugliness of it all. And you don't mind. It's happening far away somewhere. And you don't mind. But you are preparing for it too. So that's one of the problems of life. Whether it is possible to live without sorrow. What is sorrow? Why, when my son dies, my son, not yours, I'm not your friend. When my son dies, something is broken in me. Especially if I'm a woman. I've borne him in my womb, give birth, and I've nursed him, looked after him. And the pain of all that and the pleasure, the joy of the mother. And then he ends up being killed. For your country. Your honor demands that he be killed. You understand all this, don't you? Why do you allow it? So what is sorrow? Is it that my son, God, can never return, though I think we'll meet next life, or in heaven or in hell? He's gone, that's a fact. But I carry the memory. I keep his picture around my heart. I live on that memory, shedding tears. I can't forget. It's part of my burden. Don't you know all this? Or am I saying, or is the speaker saying something irrelevant? And we are never asked why we suffer. And we never inquired into sorrow, into suffering, and asked whether it can ever end. Not at the end of one's life, but now, today. If you begin to inquire into it, as we are doing now, I hope, what's the cause? Is it self-pity? Is it that you're young, fresh, alive, and gone? Is it that I'm attached to him? Face all this earth. Is it I'm attached to him? And that attachment, what is that attachment? To whom am I attached? To my son? What do I mean by my son? Be rational, logical. What is my son? I have a picture of him. I have an image of him. I want him to be something. Right? I want him to be something. And he's my son. And I'm attached desperately. Because he will carry on my business. He'll be better at getting more money. You know, we all play this game, you know it very well. And that's one side. We also have certain affection for him. We will not call it love, but we will call it a certain kind of affection. If you loved your son, you would have a different kind of education, right? Different kind of upbringing, not just follow your footsteps. He's the new generation. And the new generation is maybe totally different from yours. I hope he is. I want him to be a new generation of a different type of person than me. Not follow what I've been doing, engineer, businessman, and all that business. But I want him to inherit my money, my possessions, My house, you know, big game you're all playing. And when he dies, everything is broken. That is, my picture of him, my wanting him to be this and that has come to an end. And I'm shocked. And I turn to my nephew, my niece, to carry on the same pattern. They have lots of money or a single room. Don't you know all this? How cruel all this is. And it's one of the causes of great sorrow. And death, of course, is the final sorrow. But if you are living with death and life together, then there is no change. You are incarnating every day as fresh, not you. New thing is incarnating, every day afresh. And in that there is great beauty. That is creation. Not merely painting a picture, building a house or architecture, but living with this death and life. And that gives you, in that there is tremendous freedom. And freedom implies also, the root meaning of that word freedom is also love. Living, the art of living and the art of dying together. That brings about great love. And love has its own intelligence, not the intelligence of a cunning mind. Intelligence is something outside of the brain. We'll talk about that tomorrow.